Hey viewers, this is Fine TV Gambia, your only viewpoint, and I am our camera, your host for today. And today with us is a great young man who just recently won an award. And yes, I know you would like to know more about him. You're welcome, Mr. Kebe.
Thank you very much, man.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kebe, for honoring our invitation, and you're welcome to Fine TV Gambia.
Yeah.
And Mr. Kebe, can you please tell the viewers who Mr. Kebe is?
Assalamu alaikum to every single one watching and listening out there. My name goes to be Sidia Kebe, native of Jara, Soma, born, raised, grown, and educated in Soma. And of course, graduate of the Gambia College and a teacher of science and agricultural science in Soma Senior Secondary School.
Wow, that's amazing. So, Mr. Kebe, can you please tell us your biography? Like, how did it start from your primary level to where you are today that the entire nation celebrates a great young man?
Well, in the area of the fine nature, we hope to actually summarize this to the best of our abilities. But then we would tend to see when we were born youngly, we actually attended Soma Lower Basic School from the primary education, thereby forwarded to Soma Upper. And of course, later it was at Soma Senior Secondary School. But then the inspiration of this whole process as to which we became teachers actually started when we were at the upper basic. That was when actually life have to taught us in a different angle, right? Because back then at lower basic, it was just all cool, and of course everything was just so fine. But when we were back then in grade 9, God tested us with a test, and of course, alhamdulillah for this test. That was the test of my father, who actually went so ill, and being the first child of the family at the time would have to be going to school in grade 9 preparing for exams. Would also have to take care of that at home. Some other errands would have to be learned around down there, because after me were actually younger ones, and then mom would have to be at the market to make sure there is something available for us at home. So during this time, all of a sudden, out of Allah's qadar, our father actually couldn't make it. Alhamdulillah, may Allah's mercy be with him.
Amen.
And there henceforth it was even more tight, because you realize at such a young age, having gone through such kind of issues, and of course, it was just so challenging.
Definitely.
And exam comes immediately. We walked into it, and it was aggregate 37 I graduated with, because of course, maybe some of the supports that we would have met were actually not there. But then later onwards, we went to senior school. That was in 2015 when I met a man, a teacher posted at our school, Lamin Dimbalan he was called, who actually when we were in grade 12 have to harbor us in his own house. At the time, he was not even a native of Soma, but he was posted there. This is how teachers are. He just picked us to his house because we have some group of members. We are about 10 boys, of course, active in school. So he actually provided that guide for us, where we got to stay with him and have intensive classes. Alongside, he would also bring some other teachers from our school, amongst which were my favorite teacher, Mr. Lavin Trawale, our science teacher, who would have to be there with us on classes. And out of God's blessings, we have 7 credit was that actually push us to the next level, and that has to lead us to the Gambia College. But then the main reason why I've become a teacher was when I got to go on to the college after having some inspirational talk with my teachers at the time, and of course finally decided it is college that I was gonna go to. I took a promise that it was to say, I am going to go to college, and I will make sure the first 2 teaching practices of mine are done at my homeland in Soma.
Wow.
And after that, my final graduation, I would want to be posted at Soma. So if I have a chance to go anywhere, that would have to be my 3rd teaching practice. But unfortunately, Corona came and we could not go for the 3rd teaching practice.
Yes.
So God accepted my prayers of having been in Soma for the past 2 teaching practices and the final postings. Why do I have to make this? I want to make so what I lack in my junior school until I produce aggregate 37, the younger ones that are coming from homeland do not have to experience the same thing.
Wow.
And of course, take it to me an avenue where I would be grateful to Mr. Dimbalan's help when I was in grade 12, because his help actually shaped us and guide us towards a lot. So if I must say thank you to him in any cases, then it's obviously doing more than he does.
Yeah.
So we came back and of course followed his footsteps. My house, even while I was going to school, I used to have students that would be there for classes, and we continued this let me just not say too much onto this. From the
Wow,
other side of it,
impressive,
anyway, yeah.
impressive. You
Yeah.
see the beauty of being a teacher. Like
Sure.
the man, Mr. Dimbalan has helped him to show him that you can do it, and actually he did it at that level. So that is really a great inspiration on how you became a teacher. Greetings, viewers, and hello, Mr. Kebe.
Hello, ma'am.
Okay, a question I would like to ask you is, what challenges do you face as a teacher? Because we know challenges are everywhere, and as you rightly mentioned, like from the where you were educated to going to the Gambia college, the challenges you faced since you were young and all that. So getting into the teaching field, what are some of the challenges that you encountered there?
Well, thank you so very much, Madam Fatima. And looking into teaching, and of course, life in its nature, every other profession that is we want to go into, we must understand that there are going to be challenges on the line. And of course, going down to the teaching fraternity in the country of the Gambia actually is something else, right? And of course, the first challenge we would have to talk about would be the first thing that we face when we are going to college. We understand from the provincial Gambia, having graduated at the time, many could not be able to pursue their degree or their career dreams anyway as a result of scholarships. Because you tend to see where we all come from the background side, and of course, you look into the cost of a university or the cost of college at the time was something very much tight, right? And of course, but this challenge doesn't have to be something that affected me so barely because we graduated in 2018, and there henceforth, MRC Holland Foundation comes in, and of course, thank you, Ma'am Henrietta Sonko, who actually have to sponsor us through the college, and that was not something we've got to talk about again. And working down to Soma down there, the challenges that teachers would have to face, myself included, at some point before, sometimes it has to be the lack of motivation from the government, or let me not say lack, but insufficient it has to be. Because teachers are those nation builders that no single person can be able to pay. No matter the salary you try to give them, it's just saying, let's say, we appreciate you, but that is not just a payment out there yet. But if the government could be at any point having these teachers motivated where they felt recognized and telling you for free, the nation is going to be better, because we deal directly with the younger generation and inspiring them every single day is what we do. So when we motivate those teachers that actually inspire the future generation, then this problem of nation building becomes something that we all have to go on to and solve it at once. Yes.
Definitely. So, Mr. Kebe, talking about teachers having that connection with students, we all know teachers are like the second parent of students. So, how do you tend to deal with students of different levels? Like we know students are not actually equal when it comes to getting stuffs in class. We have this that are some of them that are very fast in learning, and some of them that are very slow. So, how do you handle this type of students in class?
Thank you. Well, from God's creation, we understand that everyone has their own unique potentials, and every one of us are blessed in our own various ways, right? And again, when we look into a classroom setup, we cannot only have one type of learners in it.
Definitely.
We would understand we have others that can learn from the teacher directly, and we have others that would have to learn from their pair.
Yeah.
And we have others that would learn not in the classroom immediately, but unless when they have to go home, read over it, they tend to capture. And these game too, we also have others that are actually very fast in terms of learning. We also have students who are very slow in terms of learning. And that is why diversification in the teaching fraternity is something that matters the most, right? When you look at the students that are very fast in learning, sometimes you want to make sure you as a teacher, your methods would actually have to be in the moderate point. Though the fast learners can be able to catch up, but alongside not leaving the slow learners. Because if you want to use that fast pace, you're only going to be negligent to the slow learners. And alongside, we use different methods that have to include practicals, that have to include pair works and group works, where learners will get to have the ability to learn from each other. Alongside, study classes will actually be something that will also help them, because if you give them an assignment, a child is supposed to go home with it and of course work over it, read them, have their individual understanding. And if they have challenges like questions and from them, actually these are brought down to you as a teacher, and you can be in every single best position in order to be able to guide them and of course help them to get to know the best from it, and that their individual potentials will not have to be a reason to deny them for what they're supposed to know from you.
Okay, so Mr. Kebe, I would like to ask you about the Gambia's Teachers Union. As you rightly mentioned, teachers cannot be paid. No matter what amount of money you give them, it's just like
to show appreciation to them, because they're the ones dealing with the future generation. So one thing I would like to ask you is, how does the Gambia Teachers Union support like teachers?
Well, the GTU in short actually is a very, 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 very wonderful association that actually have to stand for teacher welfare. Because you look into us, let's just speak it from the side of anything that has to deal with teachers. If teachers have issues, again, we tend to see in every region we have representatives of the GTU, right? And of course, these people will come together and of course go with a unified bond, because we understand my problem as a teacher cannot be fought by me alone, right?
Sure.
And somebody else is having out there as a teacher also have their own issues, isn't it? But how are we able to make sure the government or those responsible are able to understand the welfare of the teachers? The GTU come in board to tell us you don't need to go individually. When we have issues, we communicate it to them, and of course the executive body in there would actually stand for every single teacher that we have in the nation. So their contribution made the work so much easier for us. Thereby you have some issues, you just go straight, channel it to them, and of course they complete the rest for us with the unified voice of every single teacher that we have in the Gambia. We cannot thank them too for anything, but thank you, Mr. Ismaila and the team out there.
Kudos to you for that great work.
Sure.
So, Mr. Kebe, talking about teachers, we know that you deal with students and same time with their parents, and situations can differ. So, how do you make sure that parents are included in the affairs of their child's progress?
Good. For me personally, though every other teacher have their own ways of doing this, but my side personally, I would need to talk about that. So that is what I know the best, right? And again, this has to be since 2019 when we established that study group at home, where our learners would come to learn. But we tend to have a law that is no student can be able to judge our study classes unless that we have a communication with your parents. Now this is telling us that the parents will know to who is my child going to study, where is the person located, and have his number. In case tomorrow anything should happen, you will actually be in a very better position to know exactly where to go to. But when a student would have to come to you, we want to have classes. Of course, they want to have classes.
Yes.
But now we understand students are not on their own. They are either with a parent or with a guidance. Now, how do you involve those become the question mark. And again, when they join the study classes, we also have WhatsApp groups. And in that WhatsApp group, some students do not have mobile phones, but they have their parents' number in the phone. So that could serve as a means that parents would actually monitor our progress in the study classes. When we give assignments, they are posted in the group. When we do one or two things, are posted in the group. So parents could get to see, even though they are in their own houses, they could see what is happening at the study center. Coming down your study school, we tend to see students come with issues. Some students are in this classroom, they will be present with you as a teacher physically, but you tend to see mentally they are so very far from you. And they will have to be passing down through issues. And again, these issues could range from different aspects in the area of their lives. And alongside, you as a teacher dealing with them, your business out there is not only to teach them in the classroom, but also to be a part in their life. You want to be that person for them. So when they have issues, the first thought that will come to their head is, I gotta talk to Mr. Kebe about this also, right? And that happens. So when this comes in, usually some issues would involve parents where we have to go visit them or invite them to the school and be able to share the child's issues with them. And in many occasions, and of course, it was able to get this whole thing solved. And sometimes, again, students would fall sick in school. I am a science teacher, and of course, usually when they have issues like their menstrual issues or any other health complications, they are always at the lab down there where we support them in all way that can we do. And afterwards, we carry them on our motorbike and drop them at home. So there we get to see the parent, get to know the parent, and of course, get to talk to each other, get to share contacts. In order, if it have to happen again, then it makes it easier for our own self. Yes.
Wow, what a great approach. Indeed, teachers are doing a lot.
Sure.
So, Mr. Kebe, when we talk about criticism, it's something that every workplace there is criticism. People criticize you either negatively or positively. So how do you handle this criticism, either from supervisors or peers? Because nobody is perfect, and people tend to say their ideas on someone anyhow they want to. So how do you handle these criticisms in your teaching place?
Well, thank you very much. And one thing I was told, like my ex-wife principal, Mr. Usman Jaju, would tell me this. That is, Kelly, whatever you are doing, people are going to talk about it. If it is right, they will say it. If it is wrong, they would say it. So it is up to you to decide which of the two are you gonna do. And whatever is it that you're going to do, make sure you are always on the right track. This is his advice that I always have to keep in here each time I have to walk down to school. You understand? There was this quote I one time read that said, "If people do not criticize you, then you are not doing anything good for now." So even our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when he come with the message of the Deen, we tend to see a lot of critics followed him, right? So if he was criticized to a certain extent, then who are we to not? And our approach to critics, man, I used to have a law to myself. That is, whatever is it that I am going to do, I consider only two things. If those are okay with me, it doesn't matter who talks about it. There is one thing is, what I'm going to do, is it permitted? Like, is it halal in front of my Lord God? Is Allah okay with it? Number two, it's me that is the person doing this. Am I happy doing this with the purest intention of serving God? If these two answers are clear, I publicly say to students, if these two answers are clear, it doesn't matter who is it that criticizes us. We take those to be adding points for us. Because if you want to criticize me, I want to prove you wrong. But whatever is it that you're going to say, it's not a thing that matters to us. Though sometimes they will come at a time when it becomes very tough. And as it becomes very tough too, when God is with you always, and you have good elders that would actually advise you, it actually made it very easy for our own self to go. Though we passed through a lot of them, honestly, a lot of them, but the law still stands. If what we are doing, God is okay with it, and it makes me happy doing it with the purest intention, it doesn't matter who talks about it then.
Okay, as he rightly mentioned, whatever you have to do in this world, people have to criticize you. Challenges have to come. So whatever you may be doing, let it not stop you, because as he said, so long as people are not criticizing you, believe that you are not doing anything. As long as you are doing something, people will have to criticize you. So my other question will be, what do you do besides teaching? Because,
Right. Outside the teaching class, outside the classroom, I am also an environmentalist who works around climate change, and of course, looking into this,
That's amazing. That's my major.
Oh, so you're lucky anyway. Good. So by major, I am a specialist in agriculture, and you tend to see agriculture and the environment are just like sisters, isn't it? Because in agriculture, we work around tree life, we work around animal life, we work around environment. So in the initial time of our nature in school, while we were students in the school, we used to have an agri club. And when I graduated, I got to man that agri club with the help of my senior teachers down there. So we used to have the agri club in the school. But later onwards, there had come to us another advantage. There was this one fine time, my then vice principal, Mr. Kausu M. Jara, called me to his office one time and be like, we received a call from a particular organization that wanted to come to our school to establish a club, and they want us to identify somebody for them that could be used as the teacher coordinator. And he said the school administration identified you to be. So I asked him, what does this organization do? He was like, it's an organization that works around climate change, that works around gender inequalities, that work around, let's say, gender-based violences, and of course good governance and all other things like that, right? And after I was like, fine, that's okay, that's not so much far from our agri clubs, and of course we're fine. Then he actually asked me to select 15 students across from grade 7 to 12. We went in classes and picked at least representatives in each side. Then there henceforth, one time they came, that was Mr. Sekou Dabo as the national coordinator, with Usmani A. Balde as the assistant program coordinator at the
Action area.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Yeah. So the club was called the Global Platforms. It is inaugurated by Action Aid Gambia. So when they came, we had the induction that day, and of course we got to learn about the club. We got to know a few things about them, and again we started to work. So that happens to help us now from the agri club. We shift it to becoming the global platforms now. Well, we have to bring the members now. They are global platform members. So we started the first agenda that we say Operation Green Up Summer Over through ornamentation, where we get to the school classroom, dig in front of the classrooms to plant flowers down there. Under the leadership of Dauda Cham, the ex-students association of the school supported us with $5,000 to use as a start to buy those flowers, which we successfully did. And there henceforth, the global platforms, the main organization, came with some other trees, about 78 different trees they brought for us. And there was this organization called Side by Side who partnered with us to be able to do tree planting organization. And they also gave us another advantage, that is they train us on how to make reusable menstrual pads. That we would have to come back to maybe later in this talk. And of course, when they have to partner, they also bring us three. So we plan them in Soma, Upper, and Senior. Because the senior school has trees, but the newly established school by MRC Holland were actually an environment where there were very, very little trees, if there were any at the time. So we planted more than hundreds, but then, you know, animal intrusion during holidays when we left, we come back, we find out that they also play their parts on it. But currently, as we're speaking, in about 60 and more trees are doing well in that land Soma Upper. So there henceforth, after 1 year of existence, we extended to the community where we do community tree planting exercises, we do voluntary cleaning exercises in the society at some point. Again, this past year, we have an agenda that we say, of course, Operation School Sensitization Tour, where in LRR, we identify 10 schools. These 10 schools, myself with my students, with the help from school administration, we contribute, of course, actually from other teachers, where we fare ourselves to move in transportation and some spend on food, where we go to schools and we talk to them at their assemblies or on seminars. The first school visited was on the 17th of January 2025 at Pakalending Upper Basic School, where we talk to them about climate change, we talk to them about trees life, we talk to them about animals in our environment, and afterwards we establish the global platforms in their school. So we serve as the parent and tend to extend branches to other schools within the region. So out of that 10 schools identified, we were able to visit 8 of them. And the global platforms that are established in these schools are actually doing so much, very much good for us, and thereby work is made easier for us. And interestingly enough, sometime back in the history, when it comes to bush burning, LRR used to be around the peak. But unfortunately for us, this year around Soma, I could not be able to see a point where we tend to have bush burning happening like it used to be. And of course, thank you to our chief and every single stakeholder that understands this with us. Yes.
I think as an environmental scientist, I'm already inspired about what you do. Like this is really great. When you talk about climate change and environmental issues, we all know it's Gambia, it's not an exception to it. There is deforestation, there is sea level rise, and etc. And we need to fight it as climate change champions. Everyone is a climate change champion, because if it happens, it affects all of us. So Mr. Kebe, I mean, looking at what you said, it really tells that you don't only stop in the classroom, but you go beyond the classroom, forming clubs like the Global Platform and etc. How did such initiatives like joining students in clubs has helped them? Because I mean, learning doesn't stop only in the four corners of the classroom, but it has to go beyond that, and that is what you initiated. How does this help students out there in your school?
Thank you very much. So we understand students cannot learn everything in the classroom, right? And that is very fine. So this is why extracurricular activities are also very important. Well, as outside the Agri Club, we also create and of course and establish another club in the school we call ROBIP. That is an abbreviation to say Reminders on the Basis of Islamic Principles. This club will be almost every Friday. We look into the surrounding, trending issues that people are faced with. We write about them, give it to students, coach them, train them on how to present them, and of course in the assemblies, and the students would go and then talk to the people about it. So this helps us in order to boost their actual public speaking abilities. They would actually have the confidence to talk to the people about anything they wanted to happen, because the core of VP would tell us that is, we don't only speak for the voiceless, but we give the voice to the voiceless to be able to speak about themselves in case the voice is not around. So we make sure that it's available for almost all of them. And alongside too, we monitor drama clubs where we put them into dramas, and so these whole things will actually help them to build their personal potential. For we understand not every single student is very good in the classroom. Others have some other skills, but they need avenues where they can be able to actually function well. So having these clubs created help them to be able to showcase their own talents indifferently. And in sport, I might not be very good in football, but I play volleyball very well. And as a result, we also have a volleyball club in our school where we have some boys and some girls who love the game volley. And you meet us in the school every day, break time. We are at the lawn with the students where we train them, we play, have joy, fun, and everything together. These clubs have to serve as means of having the close relationship between us and the students. So I tell you for free, sometimes in Soma when students have issues, not to brag about it, God knows that, right? But one of the first people they would have to thought of in terms of teachers to talk their issues to was going to be this human being that we see. And that already is more than a plus for us, definitely. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kebe. And as he rightly mentioned, to all students out there, learning doesn't actually stop in the four corners of the classroom. Some are good in class, others are good on stage, while others are good in the field. So wherever you might be good in, please capitalize in it.
Sure.
And another question I would like to ask is, do you have other plans, like besides teaching? Maybe do you intend to be in the teaching field like forever? Do you have a plan different from being in the teaching field and all that?
Well, when you say forever, that is something so very big, but let's see what we can say about it. Well, outside teaching, if I must be anything, that would be, of course, continue being an environmental scientist. That is going to be.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. A global champion in the fight against climate change. For it is a global concern, and to see it in here, you tend to see my activities, our activities, as some of those that would also contribute to this climate change. So if we tend to have that knowledge on it, then keeping it with us actually is going to be very selfish.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure there are avenues where we share this knowledge to the entire population, and of course reminding the people about their environment. This is what the deen of Islam in fact teaches, right?
Yeah.
Even our Prophet ﷺ, we tend to see he is that man is very much conscious with his environment. To a point, different hadiths would have to come that have to be ranging into protecting the life of trees. And you don't only protect trees when you plant them. You actually have a reward that does not stop even when you are dead already. So that's what we this up as one of those, right? So doing this, you're not only doing dunya, but you're also building your akhirah from it, which is the whole essence out of every other thing. So in teaching, we have the ability, or we have the intention to actually develop ourselves even more. Because a quote would say, aspire to inspire before you would expire. So alongside, you cannot be a peak of inspiration for your younger ones if you as an individual has not done that aspiration first. So we've got to build ourselves, then build the younger ones, and they will build the nation for us.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Kebe, let's go on into the main thing, that is the award. Like, we have all seen you have won an award, that's Teachers Awards. Like, how do you get to know about this award? Is it through online? Were you nominated by people and then before the win itself?
Well, thank you very much. But before we say anything, I want to say Alhamdulillah on this, and I would want to
And
say
congratulations once again.
course.
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
We want to say thank you to Umami Foundation for such an avenue. And of course, I got to know about this whole thing upon having a visit, a surprise visit by one of the personnel. We met him about 2 or 3 times before this. This man was Mr. DJ, commonly called Dauda Jallo, he is. He one time visited us in our school. Surprisingly, I was never expecting him in any cases. He just come up. I was in the science lab. I got called and I came out. I was meeting him under the table 3. So he was like, you see these media people, one thing I don't like about them is this camera businesses. Man, I have camera phobia anyway. So he was down there. I've been recording almost everything that was happening at the school. So I wasn't having class at the time. I was in the lab doing some other things. Then he came, I went to greet, of course. He told me, let's go to your class. I was like, I don't have class. So he said, no, it doesn't matter. Let's go to any class. So we walked to one of the senior classes, and he got to speak to the students. And of course, he talked to them to know their concerns in about who is this man anyway. So I was happy that it happens at a time that nothing was planned. It was all general. Right? Students have to say from the depth of their heart what we are to them. And of course, from this, he took that video and sent it viral. That was posted on Facebook. People would see that and I will be communicated, called that we saw you on Facebook. Thank you, keep up the work. And of course, parents of our students will do the same. Students themselves will come. I saw you on TikTok. I saw you on Facebook. I was like, wow. So I followed the link and also watched the same thing. So later henceforth, after people watch this is where the whole thing have to start. Then somebody came and be like, you need to apply for the teacher's prize. Of course, you have potentials of winning it. I was like, no, okay, you are not serious. And it continues that way, Too many people would want to persuade us. Amongst whom I came to ask my principal, Mr. Abdullah Sinate, a legend in our school, of course. And of course, his advice was, what? Go ahead, you can do it, go, let's go. And tend to pick advice from so many other people. So I was like, convince myself, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
So I went in to apply. I was aware of this, on the 3rd day of December, and of course the deadline was supposed to be on the 5th of December. Such a short frame. So I started the process within that, and of course must not continue. Then I have to say thank you to our heroine in LRR, Ma'am Angeli Mende, was the national champion last year. She was actually a very instrumental individual, a change maker down there that we all have to look up to. So then I have to ask from her and of course see the way to go about it. Then I started the process. I got my application submitted on the very last day of the deadline. That was on Friday, the deadline day. That was when I submitted it. So afterwards, I was there one fine day, got called in the afternoon. I was taking a nap and got called, and I was like, Mr. Steve Kelly, yes, how are you? After the game, he was like, congratulations, you are shortlisted and invited for an interview on the 16th of February at the regional office. So I was like, okay, fine, good. So we went for the interview. It was all good, and of course, afterwards, we were announced regional champion, and it will continue to becoming recognized. But I must say one thing. This year, it's because there is no way that I got to be crowned as national champ. But we tend to see all the regional champions this year are national winners. I did not know some of them before, except for one whom I was a classmate with at the college at the time. We shared a lot of things together. But then the remaining 8, we met at the hotel like about 2 nights together. And you get to chat, you get to discuss with them, you get to hear from what they do in their schools. You tend to see every single one of us deserve this award down here. It's out of God's cupboard, and of course, alhamdulillah, it happens to be in our own favor. But every one of them were just so more than incredible in their own ways. Yes. Yeah.
That's great, Mr. Kebe. And first, I would like to say congratulations.
Oh,
may Allah put barakah in it. And also, like whatever is meant for you will surely locate you. As you said, it was on the final day that you submitted your application, and still, happened to be the winner. So, Mr. Kebe, congratulations.
Thank you.
And what will you say earned you this award? And also, maybe what will you like to tell the other teachers out there, like that can also try their lucks? Who knows?
Well, what the award earned us, to start with this, number one. Let's just start with this before we go any further. Because I remember a provincial boy out there in the town couldn't be able to have a chance to be in Fine TV to have such an interview, and who knows where this is going to end. That has been one of the recognition that it actually brought us. Even yesterday I was with another station that was Hilltop down there, and tomorrow too we have other interviews about 2 to handle down there. So that has been one thing, and this doesn't have to happen without not thanking the ASBAB for this whole thing, that is NAMI Foundation. So we would want to say Allah Hassan and Madam Bintu Suso, thank you so very much for bringing this whole thing onto us, and that it all happened this way. So the recognition it brought downward is something that has to be very much incredible, and this also happens to be a point that I tend to see, like whatever is it that we were doing before, it was nothing that I tend to do, and now is when we have the real work to go by. Because being crowned national champ actually comes with a responsibility to fill that. So people do not only see you as Kebe, but see him as national icon. This alone have to speak a very high volume for almost every one of us down here, and that alone is actually a motivation that is forcing us to do even more. And certainly will be heard nationwide that our agenda of school visit will not only stop in LRR, but now we are going to extend this to the entire nation. For that has been the promise we've made before becoming the national champion, and inshallah we'll do that. So going downwards to every teacher out there, after thanking Nani, but I hope a question would have to come regarding that, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. So going down to the teachers that we will need to have out there, we understand we as teachers, our pay is not in this world.
Sure.
No, maybe God will keep it for us when we meet down there. But then whatever we have today is an appreciation that can come on our way. And we must understand when we become teachers, we are the #1 nation builders. For there is no country that can be able to develop without having each sector of education develop. And looking into that educational sector, it has a triangle: teachers, students, and parents. So we build the pinnacle of every other part when it comes to this whole course. Again, we tend to see we deal directly with students. Then we want to be that role model for the students whom they would want to look into and say, tomorrow I want to like be like him or want to be like him or want to be like him. He's my inspiration also. Because how are we able to do this? That is when we have to go beyond what we are asked to. In the classroom, that is where our work is, but we want to go even more than that. So we deal with the life of a very sensitive side of the population, that is the children. We want to inspire them, we want to nurture them, we want to raise them, just like we were nurtured and raised when we were just so tender that way.
Yeah.
You would say president is the head of the country, of course, but a teacher made a president a president.
Sure.
Of course, you would want to say ministers. The same thing, journalists. The same thing. Every one of you passed through the teaching fraternity course. So a person that does this actually is somebody that you cannot all pay. But you will need to appreciate them. You will need to motivate them. You need to raise them to the highest heights that you could be able to do for them. So to teachers out there, whenever we pick up this course to becoming teachers, let's owe it to our heart and know that whatever is it we are going to be doing, we are not expecting any immediate benefits from them. Of course, we're not expecting any immediate benefit from them. We want to do this with the purest intention that we all have within ourselves and build the younger generation who are going to build the nation in our next life. And we look into teachers, very selfless people. The pride of a teacher lies in where seeing their students succeed. And of course, when their students are able to succeed, they feel that side of pride in them. That, of course, that happiness stays in their heart. You look into any other aspect in the world today we live in, which other fraternity would have such? Where a boss would say that my subordinates do more than I do. Even if it is there, then maybe when I do not know of it, right? So you tend to see teachers are just so very unique out there. And congratulations to every person that is a teacher out there.
And thanks to every teacher out there watching this. You're great and you guys are amazing, and keep up the good work. So Mr. Kebe, what message do you have to the students out there, especially to the ones that looked up to you and the students in general?
Well, to my students to start with, you're just the best out there, and this award is dedicated to every single student that passed through us, right? Because if you will be a teacher, you cannot be a teacher because you are a teacher, right? There must be a student that made you a teacher.
Definitely.
But again, our greatness cannot come because we are teachers. You must have a student that is down there that makes you a best teacher. And again, students can only become the best when they get to have a few qualities. One of these qualities is the quality of patience. You understand, school is not that easy thing, right? And if you do not have the patience, you cannot stand there. In anything we do, if there is no patience in it, forget it. It cannot just work down for our own sides, isn't it? Outside patience, you want to have obedience. When you want to get something, you need to be obedient. Sometimes teachers will do certain things to students, not to punish you, not to be, let's say, wicked towards you, but to shape you for a greater thing in the future. And when you are in that position as a student, you barely understand what that meant. And of course, until when later in life you get to see the result, this is when you tend to say, wow, they were doing this for the best of me. We passed through teachers, and we know how it will happen. And of course, we know, congratulations to every single teacher that stood in front of us. This award is theirs, right? Because today we are seated down here with the same title we've gotten. As a result, it was the teachers that actually made us into who we are today. So when they were to do that, sometimes certain things will come your way. You feel like, no, this person is wicked to me. This person is not doing the best for me. But they are shaping you into a very greater thing in the life of tomorrow. So students will definitely need to be obedient to observing what teachers do for them. Students will need to be patient in regards to their work. And students need to be very much serious and pick aspirations. And my students possess qualities like that. Not to sound, let's say, not to be defensive to their sides anyway, but just saying what I do know. And I want to say congratulations to every student in the country and to congratulations to every provincial student, especially. So much to the class, of course, the mighty Elara.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kebe, for that great advice to the teachers and the students as well. So, what final message do you have to for the public, or anything you want to say? Send it to someone.
Well, the final message I would want to say, I would need to leave this house very much ungrateful if we have not recognized NAMI Foundation and the partners. And my final message will really be directed to that side. Looking into NAMI, well, we have other people in land, we have other philanthropists, we have organizations and private sectors that we want to say we want to help teachers. But how to start was their problem. But now we want to tell them that the foundation has been laid for them. And who does that? NAMI Foundation. Like national development it's not only one man's business. We all have to do our own part. And when you do your part, I do my part, somebody does their part, we tend to see these parts come together. At least one or few sectors are going to be settled. And that is what Al Hassan and the wife saw. They actually came in to see our nation builders are teachers. And of course, supporting these teachers is so as supporting the nation. Developing these teachers is as developing the nation, and promoting them, of course, having provided this motivation for them. It's like we're doing it for the nation, right? And of course, we want to get to a point where we would want to see teachers are motivated to an extent that you would see students at the tender age, when you ask them, they respond with a question that is very rare to get right now. That is, I want to be a teacher in their future. Today you ask students, they will rarely say that. But this is the main aim of NANI. And inshallah, we're going to get there. I don't know how, when, where, but then there will come a time in the Gambia that you ask younger children, what do you want to become upon graduation? They will tell you, I want to be a teacher. Inshallah. That is what we are gunning for. And may Allah grant that to the nation, inshallah. So to all philanthropists, organizations, being in government sectors, non-government sectors, we ask you all to partner with NAMI. Partnering with NAMI to support the life of teachers. You're not doing that for yourself only. You're doing it for the whole world out there. NAMI Foundation, in partnership with the MOPSI. And of course, congratulations to our Honorable Minister, Ma'am Habibatu Drame is just a legend, and of course he's a star in her own way. The differences he's bringing in the educational sector is something that we cannot be silent about. Thank you to her, and we want to say keep up the good work, and may Allah guide her towards doing the plans that He have for the field. So to other people, we want you to partner with these people. Emergency Holland, look at Henrietta Sonka, what he is doing. How many schools have he built? How many scholarship packages did he have for students, and of course for teachers, more especially provincial students, to elevate us to such an extent, me, myself included, right? And of course, you could see that difference out there. So if we believe we are philanthropists, we believe we are private sectors, we believe we are NGOs, we want you to partner with NAMI Foundation. So this whole thing does not have to happen in 1, 2, 3, 4 years and it ended. We want it to be a thing that keeps on continuing. Sustainability matters the most, inshallah.
Definitely. Thank you so very much, Mr. Kebe, for honoring this invitation. And of course, thank you to all the great teachers out there and to the students. You guys are doing great. And yes, congratulations to Mr. Kebe for winning this World Deserve Award. We congratulate you, and the entire nation celebrates you. So thank you, viewers, and see you next time. Bye.
Thank you very much.